Hello, wonderful people. It is your beautiful host, Marie and Flea, with Awæcnian Academy and Age of Awæcnian Soulful Stories Unveiled. And tonight we have a very special guest with us, Khulud, all the way from Jordan, chatting with us here in Australia. And beautiful Khulud, I met in another amazing group. And I just loved her energy and just her big heart. And Claude also got to join us at our summit last year as well with Flea and I, which has been amazing. And yeah, we'd love to find out a little bit more about you and how we're all feeling this evening or morning. So, Khalid, let us know where you are, what time it is, and a little bit more about you.
Hi, thank you for having me again, Marie and Felicia. It's so nice to see both of you. I actually grew up for a big chunk of my life in Jordan, but I'm based in Bahrain. I live here with my husband and my children. So we've been here for the past 2 years. We moved here from another Gulf country where we lived for 16 years. What do I do? Where am I in life? I'm a spiritual life coach. I work primarily with women. I'm a relationship and trauma and inner child healing coach. And like I said, I work mostly with women. And we met, as Marie said, we met during this wonderful course that we did together. And ever since, we've been in touch, which has been a privilege of mine.
Beautiful.
This is the beauty of connection, isn't it?
Yeah.
That.
Yes.
And I love that you do with all the feminine work, the inner child work, because Flea and I love that work too. And Flea was in a beautiful school setting today, tapping into the inner child, and just what's alive for you today, Flea.
It was quite interesting because I was with younger year levels, and I'm actually trained in high school. So I went in with grade twos and grade threes today. And for me, it's like that need for home and that comfort and just being close to them. Like all they sort of really wanted was just to be around me, which was very interesting. This is not like high school. High school, it's like, get away, please, everybody, like move, and all of a sudden you've got all these little. And was in the afternoon they had like a school assembly for their student of the week and things like that. And because I was covering the class, I had to get up and give the award. So the microphone training came in handy, and a little bit of public speaking for these lovely, beautiful little kids. Yeah, it was really lovely.
Yeah, and I loved, Khulud, this really beautiful passion that you have for the children, that you see around in your area and that are also experiencing hardships as well. And so, here we are in Australia, in our daily lives, feeling very blessed and working with children and teenagers and families of all kinds of ages. I'd love for you to share about what I suppose has been on your heart lately when you've been noticing what's been going on in your world and the children and the families that are suffering in the Middle East with this war. I'd love for you to open up and let us know what you've been noticing, and sharing more awareness with the audience this evening or today.
Um, yeah, thank you for bringing this up. Yes, this has been very heavy on my heart and the heart of every Palestinian and every human who has empathy, who understands struggle, and who's against imperialism and colonialism and apartheid. And this is what us Palestinians have been living through for, everyone says, 75 years. In reality, it has been much, much longer. And but the focus is on these 75 years because that's when the state of Israel was declared as a state on the land of the indigenous people. And for 75 years, we have been screaming, talking about it. There has been some military, unequal military fights, resistance over the years, but we were drumming into deaf ears, if I may say so. Right now, it's happening in front of everyone. Everyone is watching it, everyone is aware of the struggles, and everyone is waking up to this reality and this truth. And it's beautiful seeing how the whole world has shifted. There's a great awakening coming with this. I don't know. I know you follow me, Marie, and I don't know if you saw one of the videos that I did where I said Palestine is actually liberating us. We are not liberating Palestine. It's liberating us from all this colonial thinking, from all the propaganda that the whole world has been victims to. Palestine has been occupied physically for the past 75 years and more by other entities, but the minds of the people in the West especially has been occupied and colonized for much longer. And that is the bigger problem because our fight is our fight and we've always struggled this way. But now the West is waking up to the things that they have been, I don't want to say brainwashed because it's a big word, but they've been fooled to believe. And truth, as we always said, as we had always believed, like anyone who has a bit of spirituality will know, truth will always, always, always prevail, even if it takes 75 or more years. And this is what's happening right now. There has been an attack, but this attack is not, it didn't come from a void. It didn't come from nowhere. But this attack has woken up the world. And even the price has been too much. It's been too aggressive. There have been too many deaths, too much destruction. But this is the price that the Palestinians have been paying for decades. But now it's documented.
Yeah, wow.
And this is what I'm focusing on now. I mean, I do work with women, but my focus now is on women who are affected by this, women who have family in Palestine or in Gaza in particular, women who are finding it hard to comprehend or to go on with normal life because life is not normal. Life from the 8th of October has not been normal for anyone with a
Yes.
heart or has a bit of humanity. It has not been normal. So these are the people I'm focusing on. These are the people I work with. I've been holding meditation and prayer circles for the women in my community. I've been asked recently to move this onto Zoom so I can reach more people internationally.
Mm.
So, so I might be doing that soon.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Also dealing with my own struggles, having family
mm,
living in Palestine, having extended family who come from Gaza and who have family there. My mother-in-law is from Gaza. My sister's
mm,
mother-in-law is from Gaza, and they both have families there. Some have been killed during this indiscriminate war against it. All of them have been evacuated from their homes. All of them are in
yeah.
shelters or evacuated outside.
It's really powerful, like for your voice to come through. And, from what I've only seen through, like, the media or through like Instagram posts, it's still such, like, it still feels really distant, all the way over here. And that's why I was like, well, let's open up the conversation and to hear a voice and to have, you share your passion. And it's interesting, like, Flea was talking about these little children, and I was in a classroom of, preps, like little 5-year-old kids the other day, and just the innocence and the play and that sacredness of our youth. And then I saw this Instagram post this morning of this amazing woman. Her name's Bisan. I think I'm saying that
Oh my
correctly.
God,
She
Bishan.
was she was showing like all of the, everyone displaced in their tents, and her heart goes out to all in all of her posts. But there was this beautiful rainbow, and as she was showing the camps, you could see the kids were trying to play as well with just what they had. And it was like this real, I just got goosebumps thinking about it, that this loss of innocence, even though, we're talking about liberation, and there is a light out of this darkness, but like the trauma, I suppose, that,
Mm,
your family, these children, these people that are innocent, that they are facing now and will continue to have to deal with and manage. Like, I know you do a lot of trauma work as well. So I'd love to know, and I know you've felt through your own big pieces. Like, I'd love to know, like, how you're feeling about what we've been listening into already.
Thank you for bringing this up. Thank you for shedding
oh,
light
my
on
heart.
this. And Felicia worked with
Yeah.
children this morning. I'm sorry, Felicia. I know we all feel emotional. I mean, we've cried these past few months more than we did our whole lifetime.
Mm,
So I totally understand these
Mm,
tears, um, because you are a compassionate and an empath,
mm,
and you can't but feel this way. And it really amazes me
mm,
the people who have been silent or have chosen to go on the wrong
yeah.
side of history. But that's not our conversation right now. So speaking
Mm,
of trauma, trauma can be healed. Trauma is carried on, as we both know,
yes.
or we all know, through 7 generations, and it can be healed. The problem with the
Mm,
Palestinians, unlike any other nation, is that the trauma has been ongoing. So there hasn't been enough space or time for it to heal. How do you heal something while it's ongoing? That's one side of it that I will go deeper
mm,
into, and the other side is children. You were with children this morning, Felicia. I know you were a teacher for many years, Marie. Uh, I don't know the exact number. The last time I looked, there were 264 schools completely destructed, completely gone to oblivion. All the universities,
yeah.
all of them have been completely demolished. I'm in this group of women trying to see how we can help these people once this is over or right now. And one of the things is education. But how can you reach these people? How can you start thinking of all that when there's nothing to go to? The major hospitals have all been bombed. Um, it's really so hard. There have been wars all around the world. There has never ever in modern history been anything close to the magnitude of what's happening. So the trauma, it is deep, and it's inherited, ongoing, and now this. So much. There's so much. And I know you've seen Bisan, and in many of her videos, she speaks in Arabic, or she speaks to other kids in Arabic, and it's mind blowing. I know you don't understand the language, but for us, even Arabs who understand the language, it's mind blowing how mature these kids are. They're not aggressive. They're not. They're just so well informed, and they speak so eloquently. Be it poetry, be it the language that they use, the words that they use, they're way beyond their years. Under normal circumstances, you would think these are prodigies. These are amazing, well read kids. They are well educated, but their history and the life that they live has taught them to be like that. It's not it's a
Yeah.
normal occurrence for them. It's not a normal occurrence
We've
I think we
glitched a
might
little bit.
have, it might be a bit, yes, unfortunately, we've frozen. It, this is actually something that is extremely important to me, as someone that has struggled to come into this existence and to be where I am today,
They
to be
are
able to
very,
teach.
very well educated. What
Okay.
Just a little.
Uh, I love technology. When it comes in, it comes in. When it doesn't,
It's okay.
we,
uh, but I love
we are
the.
we
I
are
think
still
Khalud might be
okay.
trying to be.
It seems that we are all frozen.
She's
okay.
back. We just had a little glitch.
I have been here. I don't know if you could hear me continue talking.
It glitched for us a little bit. It kind of frozen on us. So then Flea jumped in. So thanks for your patience.
It's
Flea,
it's okay.
Flea, what were you adding on? Because we were very, we felt your heart there and the passion and just this beautiful piece. And then we just had a few glitchy moments. But Flea, you were sharing some of your thoughts.
Yeah. So, like, I fully understand this, as weird as that may seem, being somewhere like it is right now. So being in
Okay.
Australia with all the
Glitching
opportunity,
again.
we keep glitching, and it throws me off. Ah, my brain. I love technology, but not when it does this.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yes. So,
yeah, I was just saying about their use of
oh my goodness,
That's okay.
no, we keep cutting out.
Yeah, that's all right. This happens sometimes. So if you're listening in, I know you can feel the passion, and Khalud hopefully will be able to rejoin us at a moment. There's just a few connection issues. You're back. Sorry, Khalud. The connection just seems to keep jumping in and out. So please finish your thoughts, and then Flea can jump in. Oh, is it frozen again? I think it's frozen again. Uh, Flea, you just jump on
Oh,
in, and then hopefully she can join.
we have to love technology, right? This is what we do, and unfortunately, this is life. And when we are live, we just go with it. Um, Education. So this generational trauma that we have been listening to, this actually does go back 14 generations. So these generational curses, as I like to call them, are these belief patterns, these cultural uh, limitations. I think that's probably the best word for it, where, what has been passed down, or what um, is existing for you in your reality, ends up being something that continues that cycle. So, like, when it comes to being locked out of, the rest of the world, when it comes to not having the same opportunities, and we see this all around the world still, which just baffles me, because I cannot understand how a world as brilliant as we are today, to have this technology, doesn't have a way to unify us as human beings, to give us all equal opportunities and to provide this safety. And this is the children that we need to save, and probably my biggest passion when it comes to education, and why I even believe that our systems are failing our kids, is that, that innocence that they need, that hope and dream and passion of things to be real, for the imagination to come alive, has been lost. A lot of the times they can't think of a story past what they've watched on a game or what they've seen on the television, and it's like, it's very heartwarming to then be, I guess, reintroduced to somebody who hasn't had it
Mm.
as good as everybody else, and may not have the technology, because that imagination is revisited. It's that little bit of hope that shows us that our kids have a future. And unfortunately, it's the worst situations that are providing this. Like, we have to go into the hardest conditions for us to recognize the beauty in our children. And for us as adults as well, and I'm really passionate about this, for us as adults as well, we need to understand that it's vital for us to tap into that childhood, to tap into the innocence within ourselves, to remember the play, because this is what heals these curses. This is what brings us back to who we are meant to become, and where we are led by our hearts and not led by fear and by expectations of the world. And I recently heard that, any expectation that we place is future resentment. And it's such a huge concept that when you look at it, by expecting things to be better tomorrow, I don't need to worry about it. Somebody else will do it. All of these
Mm.
expectations are going to continue to lead to this future resentment, where I could have done something. I should have done something. I should have spoken up, which is what we do right now, is, having this voice and sharing what it means to be in a situation that's difficult. And, it's not giving, but in this limitation is where the beauty is. It's where the innocence is, protected. It's where we have to come together as a nation to protect them and to provide education in different forms. Because how else do we fix a nation that's broken, but to educate it with ways to help fix itself? And we all know this through personal development, that the only way to heal is to heal ourselves. And the only way to do that is to start teaching our children from a young
Mm.
age how to understand and identify their gifts, so that they're not going into, schools. And this is the difficulty here, is what we witness is, once they have to form this commercial identity of our school systems, they start to lose themselves, and they can't identify where they're meant to fit in. And that judgment and that hatred leads to all this conflict at such a young age, and it keeps getting repeated and repeated. So these cycles that you're witnessing are still happening here. They're just in a less spoken about form. It's idolized because we do have a school system that is better to some degree. And, these are those hardships and things that we need to start making people aware of, that we are responsible for our children and for their innocence, maintaining that innocence, because that's the most important thing, is making sure that they've got something to look forward to, that they actually have a future that is worth dreaming about. So many young people, and I've dealt with a lot of high schoolers, that just, they're crumbling. I'm seeing all of my past students with such depressive posts and, heartfelt stories, that you just crumble, because they just need more. They need something to look forward to. They need something to work towards. And the idealization that we're providing them right now, as, I guess, the older generation, needs to change. And this is why we need to talk about it, and to create a better awareness and open up the minds of everybody around us in whatever way we can. And that's just going live, that's just speaking and sharing your passion, sharing what it is that you know to be true about you.
And what's going on around you too. And I can really feel that before we had those glitchy moments, and it's beautiful to see, through your lens and the stories that are being shared globally, like how amazing our youth is, no matter like if they're in these traumatic situations. Like I can't even fathom what that would be like to grow up, seeing your schools and your universities and your hospitals, like your homes demolished, like people dying around you. I don't know what that's like. And
Mm.
this world that we're in now, that is witnessing this, like when I feel your energy, Khulud, and sharing what you're doing and how you're helping people in the way that you can, it just inspires me. And I want my daughter over here to know that, you know that there is a bigger world where beautiful things are happening, even though there is chaos at the door. And I know that we got glitched a little bit, but I'd love for you to, I suppose, share a little bit more about
Okay. Yeah.
what
I,
you were
I
talking.
just want to I want to add to what Felicia said. It's children need to be children. And these children in Gaza, they had dreams. I mean, if you watch um, older videos, older before October of them, anyone who interviewed any child, they had the same dreams as any child around the world. What do you want to be? I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a policeman. I want to try.
Oh, our line. Oh, I think she's coming back. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Oh gosh. But yes, that beautiful part about dreaming before
Can
their
you hear?
war. Sorry. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Yeah.
Please
So
continue.
if you ask them now what their wish is, and I have seen videos, I'm not talking like
Mm.
insinuating what they might say. They are saying this: what do you wish for? And they say, we just want to live.
Mm,
Now their wish is just to stay alive or to eat because they have been deprived of food. It's a very, very difficult situation. And for anyone around the world, but especially for us as Palestinians, it has not life has not been normal since then, knowing our people are going through all this. But the silver lining is that for me, my parents were born in Palestine, and they were amongst the people who were kicked out.
oh no, that's okay.
It would be nice if it would give us a little warning if it when it's going to cut out, so then we could talk. But it doesn't. We love the internet. Yes, we have lost it this time. Oh,
Oh my
this is so
gosh.
frustrating. This is the universe actually stepping in to create opportunities.
Okay.
I
There
guess
we go. Where you're
that's it.
back. Oh, please continue. You're
Yeah.
talking about your parents.
Yeah, so they were born there. They were amongst the people who were asked to who were forcibly evacuated from Palestine decades ago. So we in the people in the diaspora from my generation and the younger ones, we are the last generation with connections, like direct connections to Palestine, with
Mm.
parents who
Oh, what I feel is this beautiful generational piece that Khulud's sharing, and like the importance
born
of that. goodness. Sorry, Khulud. I don't know if you can still hear us. We've frozen again. And I think the connection is just not serving us tonight. How are we going? Is she jumping
Now,
back? Here we go. No, just an echo. Oh, I can hear you. And Flea, can you? Oh, the joys. We can't see Khulud. Here we
can you hear
go.
me now?
Yay!
Yes.
Please, yes, continue.
So I lost my train of thoughts. But
God.
anyway, what I was trying to explain is that we are the last generation with a direct connection to Palestine, with our parents being born there. Us, my generation, was not born there. So there was this worry that our children or our grandchildren are going to lose this connection. But what happened now with this really heartbreaking event that is happening? It's beyond heartbreaking. It's been labeled a genocide by the International Court of Justice, so it's easy for me to say during this genocide and ethnic cleansing, what's happening is that it opened the eyes and the hearts of the new generation, be them Palestinians or non-Palestinians. They see it. They have this connection. It's reignited this love. But I want to say something that I was talking about with my sister this morning. I'm reading A New Earth for the second time. I listened to it the first time. I decided to read it again. And the last part that I read last night before I slept was how you know how he is about materialistic things and the ego and all that. But I love this part where he says, people who get attached to things, be it a house, a car, a job, or anything, even a land, which is very wrong.
Oh no, I want this bit.
Um, A New Earth by
You
Eckhart Tolle.
don't own
Oh,
the land. You don't own this land. Activating own that.
Mm,
He owns that land, but it owns us. It's we are drawn to it.
yeah, yeah,
Does that make sense to
yeah.
you? I hope it will make sense.
yes. And in that exchange of giving and receiving, you know, back to the land, back to the people, and to each other. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful lens to shift of how
Mm,
we come together in communities, you know, and to work with the land. And so, yeah, I love that beautiful metaphor that you've brought through and what's coming and I suppose happening right now and what's coming into the future of how we reshape that for our youth, for
mm.
the lineages to come. And so, Khulud, what are some just things that, you know, I know you're doing your beautiful meditation groups and things like that. What are some other things that you're just doing because you're such a wonderful person to just, you know, do your bit for your community, for the people around you? What else are you doing to be of service?
Well, I'm in this group of psychiatrists, coaches, healers, and we're still trying to figure out ways to reach the people there. Reach them, meaning not to connect with them, but to connect with them on a deeper level. How can you reach someone that has had that magnitude of trauma, and how can you heal them? How can you treat them? And we have collectively realized we need to decolonize our thoughts, decolonize the way of thinking, decolonize our methods in order to be able to reach these people who need our help the most. So this is what I've been focusing on right now, trying to relearn things in a more basic way that will reach these people, because you cannot talk to them about healing and inner child and all that when it's ongoing. It doesn't work that way. This way does not work when someone is in an ongoing trauma and ongoing turmoil in their lives. So we need to find ways, and this is what I'm focusing on. And also, I've been talking to a lot of people about the children, and especially our children and the children of other people who wants to speak to their children. In the beginning, we were like, no, don't let them watch. It's too graphic. It's too hard.
Mm.
Now, maybe they shouldn't watch too many graphic things, but truth goes a long way. And I've learned, and this is what I'm doing with my children. I tell them the truth when they ask. I tell them the truth, and by doing that, we're also encouraging them to always speak their truth,
Mm.
to always stand up for what is right, to always stand up
Yes.
for a fight for the people who are discriminated against. Speak up for the weak.
Mm.
Don't stand there watching. You're not a bypasser. You're not a looking. Be a helping hand. Always stand up for the oppressed and always speak your truth, because that's the only thing that will forever survive. And it has been a great lesson for my children, for all the
Mm.
children whose parents are sharing things with them. Um, it's been an eye opener in a way. I know it's very, very traumatic for anyone who sees it, but it has been liberating and eye opening on so many levels. And we now know that with truth and with resistance and with standing up for your rights, this is the only way forward. This is the
Mm.
only way forward. There's no other way. And this is what I'm working with. I created these a few meditation pieces, and in the meditation, when I'm sitting with these women, some of them just start not only crying, like a couple of times there was wailing, like, "Ugh,"
Yeah,
and
release, a
because
lot
they
of
were
release.
bottling it up, because they need to be strong for their families, whether they're there or their families here, and they're
Mm.
bottling things up. But when you do that, when you open up and you allow your emotions to just flow, because you cannot keep it bottled in. You need to let it be, because that's the only way you can heal. You need to feel all the feelings. You need to feel all the
Oh, we're glitching again,
Mm.
but it's such a
Yeah, we've
powerful
lost
piece.
connection again.
And like
And that
Claude was saying,
feeling is very important, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, it took me back to the other day when um, Flea, you held space for me. And I was just saying in
Mm.
that glitchy moment, Khulud, the bottled up feelings, like I had Flea and another amazing friend guide me through something that I didn't even expect that was bottled up so deep, and just to be allowed, and I'm quite good with my emotions and I can feel things and very aware, but this was something really deep where I did wail and I did like sob
Mm.
and just angrily cry it out. And I actually didn't expect that to happen. And this was on Friday. And it
Yeah.
was like that deep suppression that, there's always layers. There's always layers. And when you think you've hit one layer, there's something else that dives you deep.
Yeah.
So I love that you're doing this with women and,
and
you
and
know,
and you have done this work. I know we have done this
Yeah.
work. you have done this
Mm,
work. I experienced something similar. I mean, I've gone through years of healing and then coaching and all that. And eventually I got certified as a coach myself to help others because I thought I was totally healed. But then when this all started,
mm,
a few weeks into it, I had so much anger. There was so much bottled anger. And I was lashing out at my family,
mm,
at my children. My patience was very, very low. So eventually, I reached out to a coach who's also a friend of mine who I've done work with before. And I told her, I need to dig deeper. I need to know where all this is stemming from. I need to know, after all this, where I thought I'm completely healed, why am I feeling all this? So we dug deeper and deeper, like you said, Marie. And it took me back to my 6 year old because I had witnessed three wars before, three. And it
mm,
took me back to my 6 year old carrying buckets of water. And I think it was triggered by seeing the children collecting rainwater because there was no fresh water. Um, and I think it was triggered by that because I had experienced that. There was a shortage of water. We lived on the fifth floor. My mother had just given birth, so there was a baby. So she couldn't do that. And my father was away most of the time, like at work or busy with life. So I would go down
mm,
with these buckets of water and fill them from a central tap across the street and then carry them back up. And it took me back to there, and I realized I was very lonely. I was alone during that time because my mother was busy, my father was busy, there was another child, and we were experiencing war. No electricity, bombings around us, all that.
Flea, I think back to some of the
I
stories you've
definitely
shared with
have.
me.
Yeah, well, it's actually kind of funny because these are the things that now that I've gone through this kind of healing journey, being able to look back and for me, like I have this really deep understanding of the past and how the past has added narratives to it. So every time we revisit a story, we're adding the years onto it. So we're adding the different experiences, the different awarenesses each time we re explore these memories. And that can distort those memories a lot of the time. And this is where that generational trauma and that deep inner child healing comes about because when we're triggered by something, sometimes it's not even the initial. Um, Trauma that actually brings it up, a lot of the times it's something that we picked up along the way that we attach to that trauma. So I've actually had a friend that we were talking about the best moments of their life were when they were in the back of a car. And this is something I've experienced as well. Like we slept in the back of the little mini miner and it was a tiny little car. And, you know, when I think of it now, it's not really something that a human adult can fit in, let alone a human adult with two children. But, you know, this is something that was done and it was amazing. It was such an adventure and there was like so much to go through it. Like looking back, my 14-year-old self went, oh my God, like how irresponsible and what was my mum thinking and blah, all of this craziness. And then the 20-year-old self that's the mother that has the children, I'd never do that. And there's another layer of judgment, another layer of shame and guilt and embarrassment. So, you know, all of these little bits that I can't tell anybody that story. How embarrassing is that? Like, but the younger me didn't see that trauma. And this is, I guess, the beauty of children. As long as it's not continually thrown in their faces, they do have that ability to heal from it as long as they're able to express it and to then rebuild that safety. And it's the rebuilding the safety that is the most important part. It's
Exactly.
making sure that they're aware that this thing that did happen was one event and it's not something that we can keep attaching, you know, the next episode or the next experience that might be similar or the next person that sort of reminds us of a past experience. And It's when we start to look at our triggers a little bit more deeply, and we look at them with the curiosity of a child, like what else could have been happening in that moment. Because I know myself that a lot of this trauma is vague at best. Like, we go in and it's fragmented. There's bits that we don't want to remember and that our brains literally cannot cope with remembering, but that is still
Mm.
stored within our body because that hasn't been expressed. And it's really important that we understand that, as we're growing older and our bodies are aching and we're building cancers and diseases and stuff within ourselves, and especially the mental health. And this is why we see such a rise in teenagers with their mental health, is because they're not able to release it. There's no one safe to go to share these feelings and emotions. Like, their friends don't understand them because they're all going through the same eternal egoic structure of, well, this is my life and you can't understand my life, but you should. We love that one. We all should not understand everybody's understand internal concepts, but we don't. And I guess this is like that heartfelt, like knowing that you've got to keep coming back into the what was the benefit. All of these traumas, like, we can't take them away as much as we want to, and snap my fingers right now and let's stop this war, because that should happen. But what has happened can't be undone. It is in the past, but it is something that, as a unified consciousness, as human beings, we should be able to rebuild together and provide
Yeah.
these options for safety for our kids and for our adults. Like, we've had a hard go, guys. Like, I don't know a single person that's not dealing with some type of, trauma that has prevented them from being themselves, whether that's just our government and the political dominance that is keeping us all confined into, these economic standards that just don't work. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be something so big. I mean, research has proven that 99% of human race has gone through some kind of trauma. It can be
Mm.
something as small as having your toy taken away from you.
Mm,
For a child, that's traumatizing. And then you attach it, like you said, it shows up in an aggressive way as a, like, he could become an aggressive husband, and if he doesn't heal that little child that had his toy taken away from him, he will always be
yeah.
aggressive with his own children, you know. So
Yeah.
it's we all have some kind of trauma now, different levels.
Mm,
Some doctors label it big T, small t. I just,
Mm.
every trauma is just trauma, regardless, big or small. It's how you deal with it and how you
yeah.
heal it. But I've seen now, because of what's happening right now, the best way to heal is through collective healing, because we are collectively going through this. We are all feeling it. So, collective healing, when you send out this energy, when you send it out these loving messages and these loving emotions and this positive energy, when you do it collectively, it has so much more impact.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does.
I love that. I
Mm,
love that. It's so true. And I know we feel that truth. And if anyone that is
mm,
listening to this, that heartfelt piece of, well, what can I do? Like, if you're in another country or if you're listening and you're like, that's not me, but it is, in regards to the collective. And it's that positive, even just putting that intention in and having that heartfelt, energetic vibration of just praying or sending those
yeah.
thoughts or sending that intention is collectively going to shift. And having conversations like this, and this is why Flea and I were like, okay, we're going to do it, we're going to just get clued on and just bring that awareness and just speak about all of the things in between. And so if there's any final messages, Khulud, for, I suppose any Westerners out there or people that have distanced themselves, or maybe that are like, I actually didn't realize it was that bad, what can I do besides obviously the beautiful positive thoughts? What's one thing that you can suggest anyone listening in that's opening up their hearts, becoming more aware, they're awakening themselves? Like, what's your piece of feedback and advice for anyone that's listening?
educate yourself. If it's just one, it's educate yourself, read up on things, get involved in the realities
Mm,
of things. Now I know truth is subjective because my truth could be different than your truth, but the ultimate truth, like read up on things, but on a more active thing, there are so many websites, so many initiatives that are happening right now, be it monetary initiatives or just helping, be part of groups. Sit in a collective and do healing powers, healing energy sessions, because these help. If you don't have any resources at all, like you said, at least pray for the oppressed, at least stand on the right side of history, at least show some humanity, because this is not only happening to the Palestinians in Gaza so far away. This will have a ripple effect. Anything that happens anywhere in the world will have a ripple effect. How do you want it to come back to you? Do you want it to come back to you and knock you off, or do you want it to come back to you and you're ready to welcome it and send it back off with love? So you need to start with that right now. Don't wait until that wave
mm,
hits you, that wave reaches wherever these listeners are. Don't
mm,
wait until that reaches you. Start now. Start educating yourself. Start talking about peace and love and what's right. Demand a ceasefire. That's the least we can do right now. Demand that food
mm,
and water and electricity and fuel is given to these people. More than 2 million people are being starved, intentionally starved.
yeah.
So that's what we need to do physically. On a spiritual level, I say meditation and prayers, and better to do it in groups for the collective energy to be more powerful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Mm,
Thank you so much. And I would just like to
Thank
let that
you.
land and let that
yeah.
sink in. Like, your heart is so big, and I feel the passion. And Flea, are there any other final thoughts from you?
It's as simple as starting at home. Start talking to your kids and asking your kids, what they're passionate about. Like, actually start having the conversations about, where their things actually come from and, like what some people actually have to go through for us to have them. Like, we've had conversations. I was having one yesterday about the fact that it was $3 for a taxi ride or something in Thailand when I went, and that's unheard of here. Like some of these standards are absolutely ridiculous. And, it's when we talk to our kids, especially, you know, those that are more privileged, talking to your children, because they're the ones that are going to come up with the ideas and the way new minds. And when we inspire them in such a way, brilliant things can happen. And we've seen the amazing things that kids can do. And like you were saying, with the speech, in underprivileged situations, still being able to have that fluency and that dedication to themselves, to bettering themselves. And right at the very beginning, before we glitched, that was the one thing, that was true to my heart, is how much I've struggled to get to where I am, to get a university degree without a high school equivalent, and, without a stable education the whole way through. Like, these are the things that are important, is that, from understanding and from supporting people, we can actually achieve anything. We can succeed. And it starts at home. It starts with the conversations you have with your kids.
Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Khalid, and thank you, Flea, for those final thoughts. I think it's just so powerful that we can have a platform and a space where we can talk to someone like you across the globe and just share those heartfelt pieces of your life, but also what you're doing to be of service and encouraging the collective as well to shift and grow and learn and expand, because this is the whole reason why Flea and I created the academy, created these summits, created these podcasts and platforms to educate, inspire, and share stories. And that builds the awareness for us to evolve together. So thank you so much for your time and dealing with the
Thank
glitches.
you. Thank
It's
you. It's
almost like
always nice to see
thank
you,
you.
Marie. It's nice to meet you properly, Felicia. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
And I
thank
just want
you.
to say I'm
You're
nothing.
welcome.
I'm
Thank you
just
so
a
much.
dot in the ocean. There are so many stories out there, and so many people who can talk about this. I can recommend other people that you can have if this is something you want to share more from a spiritual perspective as well.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love your big heart. Thank you so much. I feel like
Thank
the glitches and the resistance and the overlays, it's almost like the metaphor of pushing through the resistance to get the truth and the love at the core. And we're all just been talking over the top of each other and like being like, but
It's okay.
embracing it
Yeah.
all because the truth and the
Embracing
heart
it
of it
all.
came out. That's
Thank
it.
you.
That's
Thank
it.
you for having me. It was lovely.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, Claude.
Lovely to see
And
you.
we'll
Thank you.
see you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Bye.
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 Bye. Yeah.